Hello YouTube, my name is Nero. Today we have some Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, and how about that Call of Duty World War II leak? We are going into day 3 here, and it has yet to be disproven, but at the same time it is yet to be confirmed by anyone official over at Sledgehammer or Activision or anything like that. It's definitely pretty interesting, but the longer this goes on, the longer it makes me feel as though it's a credible leak and that the next Call of Duty will in fact be Call of Duty World War II. Keep in mind that since it's not confirmed, there's a chance that it's not going to be Call of Duty World War II, but it just seems more and more likely. And that got me to thinking, well, what about World at War Remastered? If the next Call of Duty game really is a World War II game, what would that mean for Call of Duty World at War Remastered? And I personally feel as though the chances of us getting World at War Remastered, if the next game is World War II, are pretty freaking low. Now, we don't know too much about Activision's business plan, right? We don't know too much about what they plan to do in terms of actually adding more remasters to the series. Initially, the idea that I had was they released Call of Duty 4 Remastered this year, World at War Remastered the next year, Modern Warfare 2 Remastered the year after that, just continue on down the cycle, or perhaps do it slightly out of order, like for example, do Modern Warfare 2 Remastered this year, do World at War Remastered the year after that when Treyarch comes out with their game, and just do it that way, right? But still remaster most of the old Call of Duty games. With the amount of old CODs that there are, they could in theory continuously make new Call of Duty games and bundle it with a remaster every single year, and it would actually end up working. Like, by the end of it, we'll be remastering Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare and bundling them with the current Call of Duty game. It's just something that does work out on paper, but I personally feel as though if they were to actually make the next Call of Duty game, Call of Duty World War II, and just for the sake of this video, let's assume Call of Duty World War II is the next game, and even if it isn't, I still think this video is going to be relevant. I don't feel as though we're going to get a World at War remaster, because for a couple of reasons, actually. The biggest reason for me personally is, even though I loved World at War, it was one of my favorite Call of Duty games. My first one ever was COD 4, but World at War was the game that I started playing a ton of Call of Duty in. And one of the things about it was the game was not well loved by the community. Call of Duty 4 was such a fantastic game that a lot of people went back to Call of Duty 4 after World at War came out because they didn't like it for one reason or another. It was in fact the least popular of the quote-unquote modern Call of Duty games. Now, what I classify as a modern Call of Duty game is basically every COD after COD 4. And the reason why there's a hard cutoff at COD 4 was that was the game where we had perks and kill streaks and prestige and stuff like that. CODs 1 through 3, while I'm sure they were great games, I didn't play them personally, they were so basic they did not have any of those basic Call of Duty functions like career class or prestige mode or kill streaks or anything like that, right? So that's why I consider it to be a modern Call of Duty game. And of every COD since COD 4, World at War was the least popular, right? And I'm not just talking about in terms of player count, but I'm talking actual sales figures here. It just did not sell very well. A lot of people, when the game came out, they either heard about it or they tried it out, and then they just simply went back to Call of Duty 4 because COD 4 was so revolutionary and so well loved that it was a multi-year Call of Duty game. And even after Modern Warfare 2 came out, people still played Call of Duty 4 because they loved it that much. It was just such a popular game. So World at War wasn't very popular, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense for them to remaster a not super popular game. Like, I feel as though if they were to, actually remaster a new game next year, Modern Warfare 2 would be a better idea because a lot more people are more excited for Modern Warfare 2 remastered if it actually happens. A lot more people actually played Modern Warfare 2. It was a big deal in the series, the first game that actually changed up kill streaks and so on. So I feel as though the chances of World at War being remastered are pretty low. Also, the game had some very interesting balance ideas, and I always wonder this, if we're going to be continuing remastering games, let's just assume that we are for a moment, some of them are going to have to be changed, right? Obviously, Modern Warfare 2 is going to need to be reworked a little bit if they're going to remaster it. There's no way they can just take what we have currently on the live servers of Modern Warfare 2 and just make that a modern game by upgrading the graphics. It will not work. That would just simply not work, guys. The way the Call of Duty community is now, if they find something broken or powerful or so on, they're going to exploit it. A good example was in COD 4, Frag Times 3 was annoying. It was an issue. It was kind of annoying, right? But But in Modern Warfare Remastered, it's a plague. It really is, because everybody seems to run it. Shipment is pretty much unplayable for me because everybody makes an effort to run Frag times 3 on that map in Martyrdom and stuff like that, whereas that really wasn't the case so much back in COD 4. Kill House is kind of the same way with the new DLC. Like, it's just people make an effort to use the overpowered things in this game, M16s, Frag times 3, so on and so forth. And so you're telling me if Modern Warfare 2 were to be remastered, not everybody and his mother would be running around with one-man army danger close grenade launchers? It would be a big issue. But World at War would be the same thing, because it was a weird game in terms of its balance. For one, we had tanks, and that's something that I don't feel as though a lot of people in the community are going to be ready for. I feel as though if World War II is the next Call of Duty game, it's not going to have tanks or vehicles. I just don't think it's going to. It isn't really Call of Duty, right? And World at War had tanks. Would people be interested in a game that has tanks? And I wonder how the new Call of Duty community would deal with tanks. Would they be really overpowered with good players taking control of them, or would they be incredibly underpowered because people know how to actually destroy them? They're not that hard to destroy in World at War. They really aren't. One satchel charge will do it, assuming, of course, you can get the tank to drive over it and you can get the satchel charge underneath it. But still, I wonder how that would play out with the new Call of Duty community. What about weapon balance, right? MP40, ridiculously powerful. Everybody would be running it. I wonder if World at War Remastered would even be fun if they were to remaster it with the exact same weapon balance, because everybody would be using the MP40. Everybody seems to want to use SMGs in the first place, right? A lot of people don't use semi-automatic rifles, which that game was absolutely full of. So I would imagine we'd have a lot of people running around with MP40s, a lot of Juggernaut, a lot of spray and pray, lots of tank usage. I wonder if a World at War Remastered would even be fun. And another question I have, of course, would be what would they do in terms of weapon overlap, assuming, of course, they were to actually release World War II and World at War Remastered in the same year. Like, there'd be a lot of overlap there. We don't know what they're going to have in COD World War II. I would assume there's going to be a lot more weapons than we had originally back in World at War. We only had 4 SMGs in Call of Duty World at War, which is dreadfully low, right? And I imagine if they make a new World War II game, we're going to have a lot more than that. But even if they do add a bunch of, I don't know, weapon prototypes and maybe just weapons we haven't really seen in the COD series before, but are still true to World War II, there's still going to be overlap there, where you're going to have your Garans, you're going to have your Mosins, your Thompsons, your MP40s, your PPSHs, your 1911s, your Gevers, or Guers, as we called them back in the day before we learned it was pronounced Gever. There's going to be a lot of overlap there. So just for all these reasons, I don't feel as though we are going to get a remastered World at War if the next Call of Duty is actually Call of Duty World War II. Now, there is a chance in the future that they may actually go ahead and remaster it, but by that point, I think it would make more sense for them to actually go ahead and remaster, say, Modern Warfare 2, the original Black Ops, then continue on with that with maybe Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2. Everybody seems to love Black Ops 2 and want it to be remastered. I think it'd be cool. I still feel as though it's a relatively modern game. Like, I don't know. It is pretty old if you think about it. It's the second to latest game that was released on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. It is pretty outdated. We've had quite a number of games since Black Ops 2, so perhaps we would be ready by that point for a remastered Black Ops 2. I just feel as though if we do get Call of Duty World War II, the chances of World at War being remastered become pretty much nothing, which is unfortunate. I really did enjoy World at War. It is an awesome game. It was a game that really helped me get into the Call of Duty series. I did play COD 4 back in the day, but World at War I played just as much. Like, I freaking loved it. It was World War II. I can remember my cousin actually telling me stories about World at War because he got it on release. I got it like a week or so after it released, and he was telling me about it, just describing the game to me on the phone the one night, and he was telling me about CeeLo, right? He didn't know the name of the map, but he was describing CeeLo to me. He's like, there's this map in this game. It's so giant. It's bigger than anything we've seen in Call of Duty 4. It is giant, absolutely huge. And on one end of the map, there's this giant cornfield. And at the end of the cornfield is going to be this water tower. You can get inside the water tower. You can climb the ladder. You can get on top of there and use it as a sniper spot. And I'm just like picturing all this in my head. Like, this is so cool. And he's like, there's this other map. And he was describing Outskirts. And he's like, there's this giant church. And there is this church tower that you can get up into. It's higher than anything that we saw in Call of Duty 4. You can get all the way up at the top of this church tower, and you can see for miles. This map is absolutely giant. You can snipe people. We really enjoyed sniping back then. And so he would just describe like all these sniper spots and all these really cool things about the game and how it's World War II and all the cool guns you can use, like the Mosin and the Gaunt. And it was awesome. And I still, to this day, maybe I'm just a big nostalgia nerd. I have no idea, but I still, to this day, will log on to World at War and just go to CeeLo in a private match. It's my favorite map of all time, even to this day. If you watch my top 10 maps in COD history, that's number 1. And I'll just walk around the map. I walk around, listen to the sounds, take in the ambience. Like, I really do love World at War, and I love all the memories I have on that game. I'm just not sure it would be a great remaster because of the weapon balance in the game and the lack of weapons in the game and the tanks and the way the community plays. I mean, the community, I don't think, again, would really enjoy a game where every single assault rifle, quote unquote, is a semi-automatic rifle with the exception of one, the STG-44, right? Either everyone's going to use either only the STG-44 or they're just going to use SMGs. Like, I don't see a lot of people actually running around with Gevers and SVT-40s and Grands and stuff like that. Maybe they would be. Maybe they would surprise me, but I feel as though the modern Call of Duty gamer, your stereotypical Call of Duty fan, I don't think they would like that. And so I have to wonder what they're going to do with Call of Duty World War II. Like, are we just going to have all semi-automatic and bolt-action rifles? Are they going to be mixing it up somehow? I don't know. I'm definitely interested to learn more. But those are my thoughts and feelings on the prospect of World at War Remastered actually becoming a thing, assuming, of course, the next Call of Duty game is Call of Duty World War II. Once again, like I said at the very beginning of the video, it is not confirmed that the next Call of Duty game is, in fact, Call of Duty World War II. But with each passing day, it seems more likely because we still haven't been able to debunk any of the art or the actual game itself or anything like that, and nobody at Sledgehammer or Activision has confirmed or denied it so far. I don't know, man. It seems likely. Fingers crossed. I really do hope it's a new World War II game. If it is a new World War II game and World at War never gets remastered, it's okay. At least for me, because I still have the memories and I can still go play World at War whenever I want. So that's always a thing as well. It's important to remember that. We can always go back and play. There's not a lot of people playing anymore. You're forced to play Team Deathmatch, but you can always still go back and play. And of course, you always still have the memories. And with a new World War II game, there is, of course, a chance to make new memories, which is something I think we're all after. So hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section below. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.